2 decades passed, mysterious subterranean labyrinths began materializing across the globe. These dungeons harbored extraordinary wonders, from military-grade monsters to magic stones, an energy source surpassing fossil fuels. It was akin to a living, breathing video game. Slaying creatures garnered experience points, and ascending levels bestowed strength. Those who honed special skills under specific conditions were deemed adventurers. In the heart of the D-rank dungeon's 15th floor, a man, Rin, effortlessly dispatched goblins. Post-victory, he scrutinized his status, realizing that while leveling up, he hungered for more. Adventurers with levels exceeding 100,000 had embarked on their quests 2 decades ago. For Rin, who had only embarked on his journey a year prior, the prospect of catching up seemed daunting. Yet, conquering the Yunagi dungeon bestowed Rin with 5 levels, defying the odds. Dungeons shared a uniform structure, an entrance on the surface and below, a recall point, serving as the gateway. Each dungeon concealed a boss on its deepest floor, defeating which granted level-ups and rewards. Dungeon difficulty varied, and leveling rewards remained unaffected by the number of occupants. To expedite his progress, Rin recognized the efficiency of repetitive monster subjugation. Alas, this was a pipe dream, as dungeon challenge information was globally disseminated. Ren's plan involved challenging other dungeons with the rewards acquired, aiming to amass 100 skill points for upgrading his unique skill, dungeon teleportation, to level 10. Ren's connection to dungeons ran deep. As a child, he protected his sister from dungeon monsters that spilled onto the surface. A particular adventurer left an indelible mark on his memory by saving them. Upon graduating high school, Ren promptly embraced the adventurer's path. The initial year posed a 10 chance of obtaining a status board, a crucial step. Luckily, Ren discovered 2 skills win, body strengthening and a yet-to-be-unveiled. The journey had just begun for the aspiring adventurer. Blessed with high mobility and the enigmatic skill of dungeon teleportation, Ren found himself in possession of a unique ability that no one had ever wielded before. Dungeon teleportation, a coveted cheat skill, granted individuals the freedom to traverse within dungeons effortlessly. This newfound prowess attracted numerous adventurers vying for Ren to join their parties, each eager to benefit from his extraordinary skill. However, amid the clamor of requests, one voice stood out, Shin. He envisioned a guild where individuals with special skills, like Ren and his comrades, could unite and showcase their capabilities to rival the top guilds. Although Ren initially harbored no interest in the upper echelons of guild hierarchy, the prospect of newfound strength stirred something within him. Ren reluctantly joined Kazami's guild, yet his dungeon teleportation skill remained at level 1. At this stage, his teleportation range was a mere 5 meters, with a 10-second casting time for each meter. Moreover, Ren could only teleport himself, making the skill seemingly impractical for battles or support. In contrast, Kemai boasted the unique skill of Lightning Strike, a power rivaling a beginner's level 10 magic, despite officially being at level 1. Their team comprised other formidable members, each possessing powerful and distinctive skills. Despite Ren's skill being branded as useless within a week, with some even deeming him a burden, Kemai insisted he pay no heed to such criticisms. Still, Ren couldn't shake off the disheartenment. As Ren's dungeon teleportation skill reached level 2, reducing the casting time to 8 seconds, he made the difficult decision to part ways with the guild. When he approached Kei to share his resolution, he overheard a conversation about his expulsion. Another adventurer, a woman, questioned the necessity of tolerating the seemingly useless dungeon teleporter. Kami's rationale was to safeguard the guild's image, ensuring Ren left voluntarily to prevent any negative impact on their reputation. Despite the camaraderie they once shared, Ren found himself traveling alone. Other guilds extended invitations, yet his journey took an unexpected turn as he navigated the intricacies of guild dynamics and personal growth. Not shake off the curiosity and temptation to explore the Shyon dungeon once again. Despite being an E-rank dungeon with weak monsters and limited leveling benefits, something about it drew Ren in. As he approached the dungeon recall point, memories flooded back from his early days as an adventurer. The Shyon dungeon manager inspected Ren's adventurer's card, recording his name, age, and past dungeon challenges. With a cautious reminder to be careful, Ren entered the recall point. Beyond the gate lay the heart of the Shyon dungeon, a place Ren couldn't access due to the span. Others before him had attempted to breach the wall, only to find it impervious to their efforts, protected by magical forces. Ren pondered the possibility of using his dungeon teleportation skill to access the inner sanctum. However, a quick realization dawned upon him. This strategy was bound to fail. Yet, the allure of the unknown, the desire to revisit a place that marked the beginning of his journey, lingered within him. Moments later, Ren found himself standing before the shyon dungeon, a place most adventurers visited only a handful of times due to its low-level challenges. His decision to approach the dungeon manager once again signaled a renewed interest in this seemingly ordinary dungeon. As Ren contemplated the mysteries within the shyon dungeon, he couldn't ignore the sense of anticipation building within him. The echoes of his past adventures intertwined with the untold potential that lay beyond the protected gate, creating a tapestry of uncertainty and curiosity that fueled Ren's unwavering determination to explore the unexplored. With intense concentration, Ren owns his focus and successfully employs his dungeon teleportation skill to gain entry into the shyon dungeon. The realization that he may have discovered a way to bypass the span fills him with disbelief and excitement. This newfound ability could potentially unlock limitless opportunities for leveling up, presenting a more efficient strategy than tackling higher-ranked dungeons. However, Ren remains cautious, reminding himself not to get carried away with the accomplishment of entry. Entering the dungeon is merely the first step. The true test lies in facing the challenges with. Ren resolves to attempt the dungeon, acknowledging that celebration is premature. An hour later, after defeating the dungeon boss, Ren gains a single level. The surreal success dawns on him, and he contemplates the prospect of repeatedly challenging E-rank and D-rank dungeons, opting for a more efficient leveling strategy. Embarking on multiple dungeon runs until sunset, Ren successfully levels up 9 times that evening. Running late for dinner, Ren hesitates to enter their home, fearing his sister Hana's scolding. Explaining that he lost track of time while attempting to level up, Ren savors the food Hana cooked, proclaiming it the tastiest in the world. Hana, intrigued by Ren's rare excitement and late arrivals, inquires about the source of his happiness. Ren shares the great news related to the dungeons, and Hana smiles, expressing her joy at his success. A few years ago, their parents went missing while traveling abroad, leaving Ren and Hana to rely on the limited money they inherited. Ren's exploration of dungeons, initially to make a living, proved insufficient for their needs. Despite financial struggles, Hana continues to support Ren in his adventurous endeavors. Hana suggests that Ren should consider attempting C-rank dungeons, recognizing the significant increase in difficulty from D-rank to C-rank. However, Ren contemplates whether to disclose his upgraded dungeon teleportation skill to his sister. Aware of the potential envy and negative reactions from others, he decides to keep this unique ability close to his chest, revealing it only to trusted companions in due time. The journey continues, filled with newfound opportunities and challenges that Ren faces with determination and gratitude for his sister's unwavering support. Ren, accompanied by his sister, chooses to keep a certain matter to himself out of caution. When Hana inquires about his well-being, Ren opens up about the challenge he faces in tackling C-rank dungeons. To Hana's expectation, Ren expresses that it might take some time to conquer this level of dungeons. The following day, Ren, contemplating efficiency, reviews the available dungeons on his computer. The Yunagi dungeon stands out as a potentially optimal choice. Ren is confident that he can gain 5 levels in approximately 2 hours, and a remarkable 25 levels if he consistently runs it every weekday. However, the popularity and crowd at Yunagi dungeon raise concerns for Ren, particularly regarding the use of the dungeon teleportation skill without drawing attention. Another option is the shyon dungeon, which has fewer adventurers but also offers fewer rewards. Ultimately, Ren settles on the D-rank Yumi dungeon, recommended for adventurers with a level between 120 and 500. It is manageable but time-consuming, taking around 3 hours to gain 5 levels. Despite its challenges, Ren sees the potential, earning 10,000 yen for magic stones in one run, gaining 15 levels, and making 13,000 yen if he repeats it 3 times a week. Ren realizes that the Yumi dungeon, though not popular, presents an opportunity. As he teleports inside, memories flood back. He had cleared this dungeon 3 months ago, obtaining a valuable sword drop and significant upgrades during his first visit. The once formidable Grey Wolves are now no match for Ren, showcasing the rewards of the leveling system. After 3 hours of battling through the dungeon, Ren faces a level 160 harpy in the boss room. The harpy attempts to lull adventurers to sleep with its song, but Ren's resistance proves effective. In a strategic move, Ren uses an explosive stone to subdue the harpy, defeating it and gaining 5 levels. Eager to maximize his gains, Ren plans to clear the dungeon multiple times that day. Before leaving, Ren collects the magic stones, reminded of the valuable skill of dungeon teleportation. His determination to climb to the top swiftly drives him to challenge the Yumi dungeon 2 more times that day, resulting in a significant increase of 15 levels. Ren acknowledges the value of dungeon teleportation in his quest to outpace others and aims to reach the pinnacle of success. Back at home, armed with 200 yen, Ren contemplates his next move. Faced with a shortage of skill points, preventing him from upgrading his dungeon teleportation, Ren shifts his focus to enhancing his body strengthening skill. This skill becomes crucial for him as an adventurer engaged in close quarters combat, improving his attack, defense, and speed. Simultaneously, he decides to invest in upgrading his item box, recognizing the practicality of not having to carry a multitude of items. Over the next 4 days, Ren delves deeper into the Yumi dungeon, consistently leveling up and gaining 150 levels. The once distant dream of reaching level 100,000 now seems within his grasp. However, Ren's routine takes an unexpected turn on a Saturday when more adventurers populate the dungeon during the weekend rush. Aware of the potential dangers of revealing his dungeon teleportation skill, Ren exercises caution in its usage. While exploring the lowest floor of the Yumi dungeon, Ren reflects on his 5th run, aiming to maintain the same pace for potentially completing 10 runs. However, a commotion disrupts his concentration as other adventurers urgently flee the dungeon, emphasizing the priority of survival. Amidst the chaos, Ren hears a plea for help and, without hesitation, uses his high-speed movement to locate a girl surrounded by grey wolves. Ren deduces that the adventurers he witnessed earlier had abandoned her. Drawing his sword, he defeats the monsters, assuring the girl of her safety. Once the danger is dispelled, Ren stows his sword in his item box, leaving the amazed girl in awe of his abilities. Ren extends a helping hand to the girl, revealing her name as Kase Yui, a 17-year-old about to start her 3rd year of high school. Despite a momentary stumble, Ren's quick reflexes prevent her from falling. However, Kase, seemingly shy, creates some distance, prompting Ren to apologize and explain his intention to assist. To his surprise, Kase appreciates his help and expresses gratitude, sharing her background as a dungeon explorer on weekends. Ren, disappointed by the rigid rules of the dungeon, contemplates the unforeseen connections forged in the midst of chaos. Authorities for abandoning a fellow adventurer, the situation becomes increasingly tense as Ren takes a stand against the party leader who attempts to approach UI. Ren, frustrated by the fact that he couldn't start his adventure earlier due to a 1-year delay after finishing high school, finds the situation even more vexing when UI shares her story. She reveals that she joined a group on a whim and entered the dungeon with them, only to be left behind when facing grey wolves. Ren, suspecting this betrayal, suggests they change their location for safety. Leading Ai out of the boss room, Ren notices her nervous demeanor. She questions whether they will face the boss with just the 2 of them, expressing concern that Ren might be fatigued from battling the grey wolves. Undeterred, Ren reassures UI and introduces himself. He proposes that they address each other by their first names, considering Ai knows another person named Dean. With confidence, Ren confronts the boss harpy, swiftly defeating it with a single strike. The battle results in Ren reaching level 399, while UI advances to level 85, indicating her initial level was 80. Ren, observing UI's staff and mantle, inquires if she is a healer, a rare type of adventurer. Mai confirms her healing abilities, emphasizing the demand for healers even at lower levels. After defeating the boss and collecting magic stones, they return to the recall point, where UI notices the adventurers who abandoned her. Sympathetic, but justifying their actions, the group struggles to explain the situation to the gatekeeper. Seeing UI's discomfort, Ren asks her to stay behind him. When the other adventurers notice UI is still alive, they express disbelief. As one member questions UI about her survival, the party leader attempts to approach her, relieved that she's safe. Ren intervenes, preventing the leader from getting closer. The leader inquires about Ren's identity, but Ren remains tight-lipped, revealing only that he learned from Iwi how they escaped the Grey Wolves and used her as bait. He asserts his intention to report everyone to the authorities for abandoning a fellow adventurer, setting the stage for a confrontation between Ren and the party leader. Stationed to head home, Ren reflects on the disturbing turn of events caused by the adventurers' desperation to preserve their privileged status. Infuriated by the possibility of having their qualifications revoked, the party leader unsheathes his sword, intending to eliminate both Yui and Ren. The leader, along with the teammates, sees this as the only option after breaking the rules to survive. Ren, disgusted by their willingness to kill for their privileged class, knows that adventurers gain fame and fortune by entering dungeons briefly, making a return to ordinary life impossible. Despite not knowing the adventurers' levels, Ren is confident they stand no chance against him. Standing protectively in front of Yui, Ren remains resolute, assuring her that there's nothing to worry about. Attempting to reason with the party leader proves futile, and Ren aims to conclude the situation swiftly. The party leader, noticing Ren's lack of weapons, calls him an idiot. Ren challenges the leader, making him understand that someone must have defeated the Grey Wolves if Yui is unharmed. Raged, the leader instructs the magic user to attack, but Ren effortlessly deflects the fireball with his hand. Charging at the party tank, Ren counters the impact skill, shattering the tank's shield. Ren explains the power gap, emphasizing the tank's inability to counterattack due to insufficient MP. Taking advantage of the opening, Ren delivers a potent blow to the tank. The leader, astonished, questions if Ren is a strong adventurer, mocking them. Ren swiftly deals with the team leader and the other comrade, incapacitating them within minutes. The magic user, realizing the futility of continuing the fight, gives up. After reporting the incident to the police and officials, Ren and Yui finally leave the dungeon. The adventurers who harmed Yui are set to face heavy punishment. At the train station, heading home, Ren reflects on the unsettling events caused by the adventurers' actions and the consequences they will now face. At the train station, Yui expresses her gratitude to Ren once more, acknowledging that she doesn't know what would have happened to her without his help in the dungeon. Ren, though not bothered by assisting Yui, advises her to better prepare before entering a dungeon and to choose her teammates wisely. Feeling remorseful, Yui promises to heed his advice and asks for a way to contact him. She shares her desire to meet a trustworthy adventurer and expresses her intention to repay Ren for his assistance. The two exchange phone numbers, and Ren witnesses a genuine smile on Yui's face, a sight he hasn't seen in a while. As Yui bids Ren farewell before he boards the train home, he contemplates the oddity of being at level 399 and decides to stop by a dungeon to increase his level by 1. Now at level 400, Ren uses his 510 skill points to upgrade his dungeon teleportation to level 11. The casting range is expanded from 20 meters to 50 meters, though Ren primarily uses it for dungeon entry and doesn't expect a significant difference. However, Ren considers trying something new the following day. Heading to the Yumi dungeon, he is relieved not to encounter the same receptionist as yesterday. Entering the dungeon, Ren prepares to use his teleportation skill to move between floors. With a modified casting range of 10 meters, Ren aims to make his runs faster by using shortcuts. This idea was previously impossible, but with his improved skills, Ren successfully moves between floors with just a 10-meter teleportation range. Rejoicing at the efficiency, Ren decides to aim for a 50-meter range for the next floor, skipping 5 floors in one teleportation. Surprisingly, he finds himself on the bottom floor after defeating the boss, and his level increases by 5. The entire run takes only 10 minutes, a significant improvement from the previous 1-hour duration. Confident that he can level up faster, Ren plans to go for another run but faces a challenge. He has only 150 MP left. The high MP cost of teleportation, 450 MP per run, and the expensive MP recovery potions. Trying a different approach, Ren sets the range to 2 meters, reducing the MP cost to 1 out of 5. With this adjustment, he successfully completes 14 runs, reaching level 470 and accumulating 700 skill points. Ren also gains new skills, Magic Up and Magic Recovery, concluding the day with satisfaction. Determined for more efficient runs, Ren sets his sights on the following day. Completing his 17th run in the Yimi dungeon, Ren levels up once again, meeting the required number for dungeon completion. Ren reflects on the achievements of the day and gears up for even more efficient runs in the future. After challenging the Umami dungeon several times and increasing his level by 15, Ren is surprised to learn that he can no longer challenge the dungeon starting that day. The system awards him the title Destroyer, leaving Ren to wonder if there's a limit on the number of times each person can clear a specific dungeon. Despite the uncertainty, Ren is determined to keep this secret to himself. Checking his status, Ren discovers that he needs to clear 10 dungeons to receive the bonus for being a dungeon destroyer. Although he feels a bit sad about not being able to challenge the Yumi dungeon anymore, Ren is thrilled to have a new goal. The next day, Hana is shocked to find her brother oversleeping, worried that he might have passed away. Ren, in his defense, admits to not getting enough rest. Hana suggests he take a break, but Ren insists on going to another dungeon. Irritated, Hana asks him to shop with her, and Ren reluctantly agrees. As they shop, Ren follows Hana and holds her stuff. They sit on a bench to eat crepes, and Ren shares his food with his sister. Unexpectedly, Yui appears and questions why Ren is with Hana. It turns out that Yui is Hana's senior at school, and she apologizes for speaking to Ren, mistakenly thinking Yui is Ren's girlfriend. Hana assumes they are married. Ren notices Yui's perceptiveness and later treats the ladies to dessert, engaging in a conversation about school. Afterward, Hana invites Yui to join them for shopping. Despite some reluctance, Ren assures Yui that his sister can be troublesome when it comes to shopping. The girls don't seem to appreciate his comment. In a clothing store, while Hana and Yui busy themselves with shopping, Ren steps outside to buy a drink and accidentally spills soda on his shirt. He quickly cleans up in the men's room and returns to the store to find Hana alone. Ren realizes that some guys are pestering Yui, persistently trying to get her to join them. Ren intervenes and, after finishing their food, follows Yui and Hana to the clothing store. As the girls browse for items to buy, Ren steps outside to get a drink. Accidentally spilling soda on his shirt, Ren cleans up in the men's room and returns to find Yui alone, being pestered by some guys. The men are persistently trying to get Yui to join them and have fun. Despite Yui's clear refusal, the persistent men won't take no for an answer. Ren steps in, informing them that Yui is with him, prompting the men to walk away. The situation reminds Ren of when he intervened with the party leader who stopped approaching Yui. Ren apologizes to Yui for being slow, but she disagrees, emphasizing that he had saved her multiple times. In a moment of confusion, Ren pats Yui's head, realizing he had mistaken her for Hana. Worried about potential consequences, Ren apologizes, but to his surprise, Yui expresses that she'd like it if he does it more. Hana returns with ice cream, teasing the two about the third dessert being the reason she left earlier. Ren can only stare at her in disbelief. In the following days, Ren continuously levels up by repeatedly challenging the Shyon dungeon. His dungeon teleportation skill reaches level 12, and after completing his 200th run, he successfully clears the dungeon, gaining 15 levels as a bonus. Similar to the Umami dungeon, Ren won't be able to challenge the Shyon dungeon anymore. Contemplating how to allocate his skill points, Ren opens his status window, but decides to wait until he finds the next dungeon. He secretly hopes for a CR rank dungeon near his house, with no mobs featuring status debuff attacks, allowing him to solo. The Kaki dungeon catches his attention, recommended for soloing at level 600. Ren plans to try it the next day, but he remembers he's currently in a cooldown period. Spending a week killing low-level monsters in the Yajai dungeon, Ren regains his battle sense, amassing over 1,000,000 yen and increasing his level by 3. Including the money from the Umami dungeon, Ren now has over 2,000,000 yen. He plans to treat Hana to an expensive meal, but is also excited to enter his first SC rank dungeon, the Kenzaki dungeon, the next day. Upon reaching the Kenzaki dungeon, Ren is disappointed to see many people, indicating the common popularity of adventurers. Despite the well-equipped and party-filled surroundings, Ren remains indifferent. However, his curiosity is piqued when he overhears adventurers talking about a party with members possessing unique skills, having reached level 2000 a year after their debut. These adventurers, known as Kamai and his teammates, have turned down invitations from various famous guilds. Ren observes the scene, intrigued by the accomplished adventurers in the C-rank dungeon. As they approach, Ren wonders why Kamai and his old comrade Cosmi are in the same place. Cosmi never expected to see Ren here, and despite the surprise, Ren can't bring himself to wear a fake smile. He recalls Cosmi bad-mouthing him before leaving their guild, but chooses not to say anything. Cosmi, on the other hand, asks Ren to introduce him to his party members and learns that Ren is solo. Initially skeptical, Cosmi finds out that Ren has indeed reached level 600. Cosmi admits surprise and expresses concern for Ren since he left their group. Ren replies confidently, asking about the reason they've come to the Kenzaki dungeon, especially considering their high levels. Cosmi introduces Kurosaki Rei, a newcomer with a useful unique skill who became an adventurer in just a few months. He mentions that they invited her to join the party, and he's accompanying her today. Ren wonders about her skills, and Cosmi confirms that she reached level 500 in just 3 months, leaving Ren shocked. Kurosaki approaches Ren and mentions hearing about him from Kazmi and the other party members, describing him as an incompetent member. However, she adds that he doesn't look like that, surprising Ren. He inquires if she's facing harassment in the party, but Kurosaki denies it, expressing that she receives a lot of support except for disliking the party name. Ren agrees with her, and she excitedly shares her feelings, leaving Ren with the impression that Cosmi wasn't the only eccentric one. Kurosaki suggests that Ren can call her from now on, and after shaking hands, they part ways. Reflecting on the encounter, Ren goes to the dungeon gate, realizing that he can finally enter. He notices that even the air around the C-rank dungeon feels different. As he progresses, he faces stronger monsters skillfully, dodging their attacks with his sword and using his item box to encourage them to eat explosive stones, eliminating them all. Ren confidently says to himself, "Let's get started." As Ren collects the loot, including magic stones, he notices that the drops are even better than his dreaming dagger. The tension is different, and he feels the thrill of fighting strong monsters after a while. Moving forward, he encounters a small horned rabbit, smaller than expected. The rabbit attacks suddenly, and Ren narrowly dodges, realizing the danger with a smile. He retaliates swiftly, defeating the rabbit and gaining experience, increasing his level by 1. Ren notices that he's gaining much more experience in the Kenzaki dungeon than before. Descending 15 levels deeper, he faces a red boar charging at him. Ren observes their straight line attack and tough skin, using the stone axe to deliver a decisive blow to its head, instantly killing it. Ren continues forward, dispatching more enemies, gaining experience, and increasing his level. Finally, reaching the bottom of the Kenzaki dungeon, Ren faces the super tough high orc. Opening the door, he sees a large orc right in front of him. Ren starts with a smile that fades as he realizes the orc's strength. The orc attacks with a powerful move, and Ren can feel its strength at level 600, making it the dungeon's big boss. Ren realizes that if that attack had hit him, he would have lost half of his health, emphasizing the importance of defense. Boldly declaring it's now his turn, Ren charges at the high orc with his sword. The initial attack doesn't seem to affect the orc, but Ren defends and delivers multiple blows. The high orc roars in pain, and Ren mocks its capability of roaring. Ren jumps and attacks, striking its shoulder and killing it, gaining a substantial amount of experience and increasing his level by 4. For the dungeon reward, his level goes up by an additional 20. Standing over the lifeless orc's body, Ren reflects on his achievement, proud that not a single hit point or magic point has been lost. Ren proceeds to gather the spoils of his victory, carefully collecting the High Orc's valuable magic stone. While the High Orc's club is too cumbersome for his current ability, Ren decides to keep it for potential future sales. In addition to these items, he secures a handful of explosive magic stones, pondering the conspicuous absence of something else. Announces that they have confirmed Ren's first attempt at clearing the dungeon solo with a sword, despite not possessing the swordsmanship skill. This triggers the unnamed swordsmanship condition, leading to the emergence of an extra boss, the unnamed knight. The voice reveals that the unnamed knight is level 1100, serving as an additional challenge in the Kenzaki dungeon. Ren is left in shock as the formidable unnamed knight appears, realizing that he is outmatched at level 800. The gravity of the situation hits him hard, understanding that he must vanquish the Nameless Knight to advance or face defeat. With the boss room doors sealed until the challenge is overcome, Ren steadies his resolve, preparing for the imminent struggle against this monstrous opponent. The Nameless Knight charges at Ren with a powerful sword hit, forcing him to quickly move to the side with his dagger. The clash of their weapons creates tension in the air, and Ren feels the overwhelming strength and speed of the knight. The battle appears one-sided, prompting Ren to find a way to turn the tide. Dodging the knight's continuous attacks, Ren observes his moves, searching for patterns and potential weaknesses. Drawing on his fighting experience and the teachings of his mentors, Ren carefully plans his moves, aiming to take advantage of the knight's brute strength. As the battle unfolds, Ren starts to discern a pattern in the knight's attacks, offering him a chance to find a weakness. The back and forth of the battle showcases Ren's determination, with each move becoming a piece of the puzzle he needs to solve to defeat the tough Nameless Knight. Studying the knight's strengths in both attack and toughness, Ren devises a plan to exploit potential weak spots like the elbows and knees. To manipulate the knight, Ren decides to tease him, luring him into a charge. However, the unexpected happens. The Nameless Knight grabs Ren's arm, leaving the outcome of the battle uncertain. The Nameless Knight kicks Ren hard into the wall, causing a significant loss of his HP, 5,500 points to be exact. Shocked by the knight's smart move, Ren is now faced with the challenge of overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds. Contemplating his next move, Ren acknowledges that a single kick from the Nameless Knight could lead to his untimely demise. In this dire situation, a flicker of hope emerges as Ren still possesses the unique skill of dungeon teleportation. Recalling his proximity to the boss room door, Ren contemplates leveraging the skill to escape to the other side. Determined not to yield, he seizes the opportunity and retrieves an explosive magic stone from his inventory, hurling it towards the Nameless Knight. The resulting dense veil of smoke temporarily blinds the knight, providing Ren with precious time to strategize. Resolute and determined, Ren deactivates his dungeon teleportation and reappears stealthily behind his adversary, capitalizing on the element of surprise. As he prepares to turn the tide of the battle, Ren channels the energy of newfound courage, carefully assessing the knight's weaknesses and plotting nimble strikes and dodges. The element of surprise, combined with strategic agility, offers Ren a chance to regain control in this intense confrontation. The Nameless Knight, now aware of Ren's resilience, braces for the unexpected twists in this unpredictable battle. Having hurled the explosive magic stone, Ren reacts swiftly to the ensuing chaos, prioritizing his survival by swiftly consuming an intermediate health potion, replenishing a crucial 1,000 health. Sensing the gravity of the situation, Ren makes a decisive move, selecting a new skill that augments his attack power from 500 to an impressive 150. Recognizing this as his final opportunity, he summons all his strength and lunges at the Nameless Knight's vulnerable back with his dagger. The loud clash of metal and the sturdy body of the Nameless Knight prove too tough for Ren's small dagger, which breaks upon impact. Unfazed, Ren quickly switches to a big axe, charging again at his formidable opponent. In a smart move, he cuts through the knight's arm, making it let go of its sword. With a quick motion, Ren grabs the fallen weapon, preparing for a final decisive hit. Going at the Nameless Knight with strong determination, Ren successfully cuts the tough enemy in half, showcasing the significant growth in his strength. After the dust settles, Ren takes a moment to catch his breath, realizing that he has just conquered the strongest opponent he has ever faced. The dungeon announces the defeat of the extra boss, and Ren reaps the rewards. He gains experience, pushing his level up by a staggering 52, and additional rewards from the extra boss grant him a further boost of 30 levels. As a token of his triumph, Ren is bestowed with the prestigious title of Nameless Swordsman. Examining the Nameless Knight's sword, Ren acknowledges its immense power. However, he contemplates the potential drawback of its weight, deciding to purchase a new dagger to maintain his agility. Thoroughly analyzing the sword's characteristics, he realizes its potential will be unlocked as he levels up, making it an invaluable asset for future battles. Eager to continue his adventure, Ren reminds himself of the task at hand, collecting items. Despite the destruction of the Nameless Knight's magic stone within its body, Ren couldn't obtain it as a reward. Nonetheless, he exits the dungeon with a newfound sense of accomplishment. his level now standing at an impressive 890 and holding the distinguished title of Nameless Swordsman, marking his triumph. Stepping into the daylight, Ren contemplates the lessons learned from this challenging encounter, knowing that each victory is a stepping stone towards greater heights in his adventurous journey. The following day finds Ren in the heart of the city near the Kainaki dungeon, eager to upgrade his weaponry. Entering the weapon store, a welcoming girl requests to see his adventurer card, understanding that only licensed adventurers can make purchases. Ren complies as he contemplates equipping the Nameless sword, grappling with the trade-off between heightened attack power and a slight decrease in mobility. The sword's special effect, amplifying his stats by 20 when facing higher-level enemies, adds a strategic layer to his decision-making. Determined to master both dagger and long sword, Ren plans to buy a new dagger. Upon returning to the surface, the girl notes his D-rank adventurer status, prompting Ren to glance at his adventurer card. He realizes he forgot to update his rank after yesterday's triumphant conquest of a C-rank dungeon. The dilemma surfaces. Reporting his achievement means a week-long hiatus from Kinaki dungeon challenges. Despite the temptation to ascend in rank, Ren opts to keep the information to himself. Directed to the D-rank section, Ren defiantly gestures towards the C-rank products, expressing his interest. As he pursues the weaponry, the girl reiterates the D-rank designation, but Ren's focus remains on the C-rank items. Evaluating his options, he decides that extravagant features are unnecessary for his current needs, and his attention settles on the Kirakachi dagger designed for level 800 adventurers, promising a 500-point boost to attack power. Intrigued, Ren requests a closer look. Ren holds the Kirakachi dagger, and with a smile, he appreciates its lack of special features, finding comfort in its familiar performance akin to his previous dagger. Inquiring about the price, Ren learns it amounts to a hefty 2 million. The girl cautions him, emphasizing its incompatibility with D-rank adventurers and the significant cost. Undeterred, Ren affirms his understanding of the dagger's worth, promptly handing over the required funds. Grateful for his purchase, the girl expresses her thanks as Ren departs with his new acquisition. Armed with this upgraded dagger, Ren returns to Kenzaki Dungeon to put his enhanced strategy to the test. The new weapon, combined with his increased level, makes dispatching monsters easier and more efficient. Pleased with his progress, Ren sets his sights on a red boar, aiming to bring back a valuable item. His item box, now at level 2, accommodates the red boar he encounters on his journey. Reaching the 30th floor basement, Ren reflects on his achievements, 2 additional levels gained and a desire to confront the boss immediately. Drawing the Nameless Knight sword from his item box, he deliberately engages in battles, intending to assess the impact of the title he earned just the day before. Prepared and resolute, Ren faces the challenges of the dungeon, eager to see the results of his strategic choices and newly acquired equipment. He smiles as he thinks to increase the performance of the sword. He should use it for the boss fight. Opening the door and entering the boss room, the boss appears in front of him, and with confidence, he tells the boss that yesterday he was on the defensive, but today he's going to beat him up head-on. The boss charges at him, and rather than defending, Ren also charges at the boss. In a few seconds, he charges multiple times on the boss and defeats it. After subjugating the dungeon boss, his experience increases by 2 levels, and the dungeon strategy reward increases by 20 levels. He stays there, wondering if an extra boss would come, but after noticing the silence for a moment, he realizes, as expected, an extra boss wouldn't appear. To test the extent of his title, he looks at the characteristics of his swords, whose damage increased by 20. He goes out of the door outside of the dungeon and looks at the time, realizing it's just 4 p.m, and he has enough stamina to go for one more round. Then, he thinks if he does a speedrun using his teleportation power, he could possibly do it 4 or 5 times. He notices no one is around him, so he teleports again into the dungeon. Using his teleportation power, he looks around, and as he sees no one there, he thinks to himself that usually there are a lot of people in Kinaki Dungeon, but finds it better as he can easily teleport to a good spot. Suddenly, as he sees behind, Rai is standing there with a blade-shaking sword. Ren goes to Rai and says they meet again so soon. Rai agrees to it. Ren asks if she's not with Kemi and his party today. Rai tells him that she can't be accompanied by them all the time. When she went with them yesterday, They judged her that she could probably make it on her own to the 10th floor. To prove them wrong, she came here to increase her level. Ren listens to her and thinks to himself that Rai was definitely over level 500. Even though subjugating the level 600 hierarch may be difficult, she can still fight the beasts on the shallower floors. While making his laps, he considers that acquaintances like Ray may be here, and if he runs into her again while doing laps, she will be strangely suspicious of him. After that, he says he will better get going pretty soon. As he starts walking, Rai holds his hand. Ren looks at her in shock as Rai tells him to let's go together, as it's a great opportunity. Ren keeps looking at her with shock. Ray extends an invitation to Ren, and together they traverse the 5th floor of the Kinakai dungeon. The atmosphere crackles with anticipation as they stride side by side, the air thick with the mysteries that lie ahead. Suddenly, Ren, feeling a bit uneasy, decides to break the silence by inquiring about Ray's age and hobbies. However, his attempt at small talk takes an unexpected turn when he finds himself caught in a web of awkwardness. Contemplating whether he has unintentionally stumbled into some sort of blind date scenario, with a hesitant smile, Ray divulges that she is 17 years old, but chooses to keep her hobby shrouded in secrecy. Sensing Ren's discomfort, she reciprocates the question, and he confesses to being 19, revealing his dilemma with finding time for anything beyond dungeon exploration and spending time with someone named Hana. The mention of Hana makes him pause, realizing it might brand him as a siscon. But just as Ren is about to shift the topic, Ray catches him off guard by asking about his work preferences. Ren, foreseeing possible monster interruptions, smoothly cuts in, expressing worry about the impending danger and emphasizing the need to stay alert. Though Ray appears somewhat disappointed, she agrees with a nod, and the two proceed on their journey in silence, each immersed in their own contemplations. Moving ahead, the foreboding feeling becomes a reality as a swarm of monsters appears before them. Ren, quick on his feet to plan, announces his decision to tackle the left side, leaving Ray to handle the right. Tension fills the air as they confront these formidable foes. Ren, observing the orcs' increased strength and toughness, understands that these aren't your average adversaries. A rush of adrenaline pumps through him, emphasizing the urgency of the situation. With the surge of newfound strength from his recent level up, Ren boldly charges at the orcs, fueled by intense determination, his dagger slicing through the air, hitting. Dispatch the orcs, ensuring that they don't consume the leftover monsters with magic stones. Ren, still amazed by Rai's magical blade move, acknowledges the effectiveness of their teamwork. After the swift battle, Ren and Rai take a moment to catch their breath. Ren expresses gratitude for Rai's assistance, emphasizing that her magical blade move is a game-changer. Rai, in turn, appreciates Ren's combat skills and efficiency in dealing with the orcs. Ren, curious about the dungeon's mechanics, suggests that they continue their exploration. Rai agrees, and together they venture deeper into the dungeon, facing more challenges and strengthening their bond as a formidable duo. As they progress, Ren reflects on the unpredictability of dungeon adventures and the importance of having reliable allies. The two adventurers encounter various monsters and obstacles, utilizing their skills and strategies to overcome each hurdle. Rai's magical blade proves to be a versatile asset, complementing Ren's proficiency with his dagger and enhancing their overall combat effectiveness. Throughout their journey, Ren and Rai share insights, exchange compliments, and build a camaraderie forged in the heat of battle. The dungeon exploration becomes not just a quest for experience points and treasures, but also an opportunity for personal growth and mutual understanding. As Ren and Rai delve deeper into the labyrinthine depths of the dungeon, they face tougher challenges and uncover more mysteries. The echoes of their footsteps resonate in the dimly lit corridors, marking the continuation of their adventurous journey together. Further enhancing his skills and abilities, Ren reflects on the valuable experiences gained during his time in the Kaki dungeon, especially the unexpected partnership with Ray that brought a new dimension to his adventures. As he contemplates the allocation of his SP, Ren considers the skills that would complement his current strengths. He envisions facing more challenging dungeons and formidable foes, prompting him to choose upgrades that will contribute to his overall effectiveness. Ren's journey has evolved from a solo endeavor to a collaborative exploration with a reliable companion. The camaraderie with Ray has not only made the challenges more manageable, but has also enriched Ren's understanding of the adventurer's path. With his newfound wealth and levels, Ren feels a sense of accomplishment. The khaki dungeon, once a formidable challenge, now stands conquered. Ren's success serves as a testament to his growth as an adventurer, and he looks forward to facing even greater trials in the future. As Ren prepares for the next chapter of his journey, he acknowledges the importance of companionship, strategic thinking, and continuous improvement. The labyrinth of challenges awaits, and Ren, now armed with experience and a trusted partner, is ready to navigate its twists and turns. The adventures of Ren and Ray continue, promising new discoveries and encounters in the vast world of dungeons and mysteries. Strengthening his abilities to the maximum at level 10, he focused on enhancing both strength and movement, pushing his skills to new heights. Additionally, he chose to elevate his enemy search, secrecy, and abnormal resistance skills to level 4. After these substantial upgrades, he found himself with a surplus of 510 SP, making him more formidable than ever. Taking a moment to appreciate his newfound strength, he contemplated his next move. Deciding to challenge the unconquered Yunagi dungeon before revisiting the familiar territory of the Arrogance dungeon where his adventuring journey began, he completed the Yunagi dungeon multiple times in just 3 days. His triumph earned him a bonus reward of 15 levels, breaking through the challenging dungeon. Emerging safely, he examined his stats outside the dungeon, reflecting on conquering his 5th dungeon. Contemplating how to allocate his SP, he eagerly awaited Yui's arrival the next day. Yui arrived in a rush, apologizing for any potential wait, prompting Ren to confirm and annoy Yui. Despite the banter, they decided to go to a cafe where Yui thanked Ren for spending time with her. Sensing there was more to the meeting, Ren inquired about the reason for her consultation, believing it must be dungeon-related. Yui confirmed his suspicion, revealing she was scouted by the Yaki Guild. Ren, visibly surprised, noted that guilds typically scout adventurers with exceptional talent. Curious about her progress, Ren asked how many levels she gained since their last encounter. Excitedly, Yui shared that she recently surpassed level 100, earning praise from Ren for the significant achievement. Ren speculated that the Yaki Guild must be a large one with substantial financial power, seeking to elevate lower-leveled adventurers quickly. Wanting more details, Ren asked about the guild's name, and Yui provided it as Yaki, handing him the business card she received. Examining the card, Ren recalled encountering this guild in the past few years, confirming it as one of the top guilds in the country. Yui confirmed Ren's recognition, elaborating on the guild's high regard for praising and recommending select individuals, emphasizing its growth potential. She mentioned the high demand for healers, with Ren agreeing and citing the steep costs of potions as a driving force behind guilds actively seeking healers. In response to Ren's suggestion that she considers seeking consultation on whether to join a guild, Yui readily agrees, acknowledging his unlimited knowledge. Ren proceeds to elaborate on the merits and demerits associated with guild membership, emphasizing the invaluable support guilds provide across various facets of an adventurer's journey. Ren continues to emphasize the importance of team formation in the adventurer's journey, highlighting the need for a combination of skills and compatibility to mitigate the risk of teaming up with unreliable individuals. He points out the downside of diminished personal freedom due to guild-mandated schedules, noting that guilds bear obligations that extend beyond privileges. Guilds must respond to association directives during dungeon crises, unless presented with exceptional circumstances. Summing up his advice, Ren suggests that Yui should think about joining a guild if she truly wants to get stronger quickly. However, he adds that if there are other aspects of being an adventurer that matter more to her, she might want to reconsider that choice. Yui starts reflecting on why she became an adventurer, revealing that she was initially scared of fighting monsters and didn't like using weapons much. Her friends convinced her to explore dungeons, mostly to gain status and avoid traffic accidents. As Yui reflects on her adventure journey, she discovers her talent for healing and finds joy in helping people. Realizing the purpose her healing talent gives her, Yui decides to grow and develop this power further, expressing excitement about joining a guild for more growth. Ren, understanding Yui's choice, gives her practical advice, reassuring her that it's okay to step back if things get too hard and reminding her to take care of herself first. He also warns her to be careful in guilds to avoid being taken advantage of in the competitive adventurer world. Addressing the financial aspect, Yui raises the possibility of exceeding Ren's earnings due to an elevated rate for healers. A subtle smile appears on Ren's face as he contemplates the substantial earnings achievable in the current landscape, pondering whether Yui can match his potential. As their meal concludes, Yui insists on covering the expenses, but Ren assures her that income might take some time to materialize within the guild setting. In a surprising twist, Yui, looking at Ren with a mixture of shock and admiration, vocalizes her appreciation for his caring and dependable nature. A subtle blush graces Ren's cheeks as he realizes that EDA has finally recognized his underlying qualities. The conversation then takes an unexpected turn as Yui, seemingly inspired by playful curiosity, delves into Ren's romantic history, questioning why he hasn't had a lover. Ren, feeling a tinge of annoyance, questions whether EY is mocking him or exhibiting stalker-like tendencies. He quickly diffuses any misunderstanding, attributing her knowledge to past disclosures, prompting Ren to mentally note a scolding for Hana later. Exiting the shop, Yui spots Kosaki, donning headphones and excitedly approaches Ren. Taken aback, Kurosaki readily recognizes Ren, but fails to identify EI in the course of introducing herself. Yui mentions the shared class, prompting a puzzled reaction from Kurosaki. Observing Kurosaki, Ren notes that she seems familiar and speculates that she's a classmate from the same high school, surmising that she rarely discusses her adventures. Curious, Yui inquires about Ren's connection with Kurosaki, prompting him to reveal that Kurosaki is also an adventurer, and they crossed paths in the dungeon the previous week. Unaware of this, Yui expresses her surprise, leading Ren to conclude that Kurosaki keeps her adventurous pursuits discreet, likely due to camaraderie shared with her. With a delighted expression, Yui expresses her happiness at having the chance to talk to Kurosaki, even mentioning an anime with a cute girl song that she enjoyed. Kurosaki, wearing an annoyed expression, urges her to stop changing the subject. Ren queries Kurosaki about her plans for dungeon exploring today. Kurosaki reveals that she's meeting Ki and the others to explore Kinaki Dungeon. Ren and Kurosaki exchange glances, prompting Ren to question the reason. Kurosaki dismisses it as nothing, leaving Ren puzzled. He then asks her if she plans to visit the dungeon today, to which she responds by mentioning her recent breakthrough in dungeon capture, nearly revealing more than intended. Wondering if Kurosaki caught on, Yui subtly questions if Ren and Yui are in a relationship. In shock, Ren clarifies that I sought consultation today and is unfamiliar with other adventurers. Kurosaki teasingly suggests that Ren prefers younger partners, leaving him with a perplexed expression. Faced with a tricky question, Ren opts for a manly and honest response, admitting a preference for younger partners. Kurosaki interprets it as a confirmation of liking them, surprising Ren, who senses a potential mistake but doesn't regret his choice. Yui, having overheard part of the conversation, approaches and inquires about their discussion. All of a sudden, an urgent message interrupts them, talking about a dungeon collapse in Kinaki Dungeon. Everyone gets scared as the announcement says that people, especially those high-ranked, should leave. Ren, surprised by this news, explains that it's a rare thing when a dungeon disappears, letting monsters use the gates adventurers usually go through. More and more monsters start filling up the town, making everyone feel like they need to do something right away. The situation gets really tense and urgent. Ren turns to Kurosaki and confidently shares his plan to subjugate the monsters that are emerging, curious about her intentions. He asks Kurosaki about her strategy without hesitation. Kurosaki pledges to join him in the fight. Just as the two are preparing for their venture, Yui interjects, insisting that she will accompany them. However, Ren cautions her, citing the formidable minimum level requirement of 500 in Kinaki Dungeon. Unfazed, Yui clarifies that she won't be engaging in. In combat, Yui plans to provide invaluable healing magic for the injured, emphasizing her desire to cultivate this power to help others. Ren contemplates the practicality of Yui's healing magic, acknowledging its potential effectiveness in aiding non-combatants who lack the ability to use potions. Yui expresses her determination to develop and harness this ability to save lives, and touched by her commitment, Ren tells Yui not to leave his side during the upcoming challenges. Gratefully, Yui agrees with a smile, and they set off toward the dungeon. Realizing the need for preparation, Ren suggests gearing up, but Oi playfully accuses him of teasing as she lacks an item box. Ren promptly apologizes, promising to ensure she won't have to fight. In return, Yui, blushing, forgives him and revels in the light-hearted exchange. Meanwhile, Kurosaki, observing their interaction, receives a message from her party about their involvement and handling the situation. Apologizing for her abrupt departure, Kurosaki wishes Ren and Yui well, cautioning them to take care. Ren reassures her, advising not to overexert herself as Kurosaki dashes away. Ren is left with a lingering sense of uneasiness, questioning whether it was just his imagination. Turning their attention back to the imminent threat, Ren and Yui make their way to the dungeon. The path is fraught with monsters, prompting Ren to take the lead, swiftly dispatching foes with his dagger. Onlookers are astounded by his speed and strength, and concerned for the well-being of the common people, Ren checks on them, ensuring their safety. Yui steps forward, showcasing her healing magic to mend wounds, leaving the witnesses in awe. Ren, recognizing the remarkable recovery speed despite Yui's lower level, contemplates the formidable duo they make. In their contemplation of whether to head to Kinaki Dungeon, Yui's inquisitive gaze meets Ren's thoughtful expression. Ren weighs the situation, taking into account the monster's unexpected reach. His mind turns with the intricacies of dungeon collapses where creatures absorb magical power, resulting in a significant boost in their strength. Regular monsters also gain considerable power during these events, posing an additional challenge. Realizing that a formidable B-rank subjugation party is necessary for a C-rank dungeon like Kinaki, Ren acknowledges his current level falls short of the required threshold. With a strategic mindset, he proposes a nuanced plan to Yui, suggesting they focus on exterminating the monsters emerging from Kinaki Dungeon while offering healing assistance. Recognizing the wisdom in this approach, readily agrees. Meanwhile, deep within the labyrinthine corridors of Kinaki Dungeon, the atmosphere is tense as Cosmi and his party navigate through hordes of monsters, and Kurosaki observes their swift movements. Making swift progress, the team marvels at their quick arrival at the boss room. The intricacies of their entry into the dungeon, facilitated by Kemai using his name, add an additional layer of complexity. Initially met with resistance due to their low levels, the administrator concedes to allowing them to clear only the mobs. However, looming on the horizon is the imminent arrival of B-rank parties dispatched by nearby guilds scheduled to reach them within the next half hour. Ray, inquisitive about Kemi's selective engagement with the mobs, contemplates the dynamics at play. As the other B-rank party gets closer, they get ready to help out. Kemai, feeling like it's the right time, suggests a big change in their plan. He proposes that they should go into the boss room and face the final boss right away. His team is surprised by the sudden shift in the plan and asks him why. Kemi, looking very sure of himself, explains that the monsters didn't get stronger like they thought during the dungeon collapse. He believes their team, with its special skills, can easily beat the final boss. He also thinks it's a great chance to show off what they can do and gain some prestige. Ray, not really buying into the idea, voices her worry about putting prestige above stopping the dungeon collapse and saving lives. Even though Shin agrees with Kemi, Ray stays quiet, showing she's not totally convinced. Seeing her hesitation, Cosmi suggests she just stays in the back while the rest of the team deals with the boss. He promises she'll still get the rewards and prestige. Thinking about what's important during the dungeon collapse chaos, Ray realizes that making sure the group doesn't get hurt too much is not the main thing to focus on. Cosmi, taking charge as the leader, says most of the team is on board with the plan. He challenges Ray to either go along with her strategy or stay back to deal with the tough monsters alone. With a bit of annoyance on her face, Ray gives in, saying she gets it and agrees to go with them. Cosmi, feeling sure of his ability to convince her, mentions that he knew she'd come around eventually. With the decision made, Cosmi takes the lead and opens the door to the boss room. Ray, realizing that they might not get any help next time the door opens, accepts that it could mean the end for all of them. Stepping into the room, they face a huge orc. Cosmi, smirking, acknowledges that it's stronger than expected, but then a team member drops a bombshell. The high orc has a level of 3,000, surprising everyone for a moment. Cosmi, not letting it bring them down, motivates the team, pointing out the chance to make their mark by defeating an even stronger foe. The team, feeling more sure of themselves, goes into battle against the High Orc. As the battle goes on, it becomes clear that the orc is getting closer to being defeated. Cosme, feeling a bit let down by how easily things are going, gets ready to give the final powerful blow. But just as he's about to strike, a surprise happens. Suddenly, Nameless Knights pop up from the ground, all at level 2000. This surprise catches everyone off guard, and Cosme admits he'd never seen enemies like them, except during the final boss fight. When Cosme tries to use his Big Thunder move, he's surprised to find out that the Nameless Knights are really tough and can take a hit. This unexpected toughness makes Kai tell his teammates Yuya and Koz to stop and rethink their plan. In the midst of all this, Rai, using her magical blade, notices that the knights are smart. Even though they're monsters, they're going after the mages in the group. The team, working together, manages to beat one of the 4 Nameless Knights, but the fight isn't over yet, and they have to put in a lot of effort to defeat the other 3. Chem-I, still smiling and cheering on the team, tells them to quickly take out the last Nameless Knight and then finish off the seemingly weakened High Orc. Their brief sense of relief doesn't last long, as an unexpected turn of events catches them off guard, leaving them stunned and wide-eyed. The dungeon collapse didn't make the monsters stronger like they thought, and those knights they faced were actually trying to stall for time. Cosme, looking puzzled, turns to Sakura and asks about the level of the High Orc. To their disappointment, Sakura shares a surprising update. The High Orc has evolved into a higher-ranked Orc, General with a level of 4000. This revelation crushes their earlier optimism, and they now find themselves facing an even tougher opponent. Even though Cosme uses his super-strong lightning attack, it doesn't do anything to the Orc. The whole party is shocked because the special skills they have, which always worked on other enemies, are doing nothing against this really strong opponent. They start to feel like they might not have any power against this Orc at all, and hope starts to disappear. Ray feels more and more worried as she watches what's happening, realizing that her team isn't good enough for this tough situation. The monsters they dealt with before, which were supposed to be stronger than them, seem way weaker compared to the super strong Orc General. The whole group is just stuck in shock as the big Orc General charges at them. In a last-ditch effort to protect Cosme from the coming attack, Ray jumps in front of it. Sadly, she ends up slamming into the wall and gets hit really hard. That one hit takes away more than 90 of her health, making her super weak. Now, not giving up, the Orc goes after Cosme again. Even though Cosme tries to fight back with more lightning, the Orc doesn't get hurt and hits back, making Cosme fall down. He looks around and sees that everyone is still alive. A feeling of urgency comes over her when a Nameless Knight shows up and starts moving toward her. Tears start to come to her eyes as she thinks about how this might be the end for her and her friends. She's so scared. Ray finds herself unable to move, contemplating if this is the last moment for her and her friends. Gazing at the closed door, she desperately thinks about finding a solution, wishing for the sort of lucky break heroes in stories usually get. Reflecting on her past choices, she wonders if joining the King of Unique or not being able to stop them is where things went wrong. Struggling with the mystery of how they ended up in this dire situation, Ray can't find clear answers. As the Nameless Knight comes closer with a shiny sword, Ray is filled with fear, worrying that they might not make it. The thought crosses her mind, maybe if they die, the door will open, giving other B-rank parties a shot at beating the Orc General and preventing further losses. With this determination, Ray closes her eyes, preparing for what feels like the unavoidable, while also hoping that their sacrifice might lead to a better outcome. Suddenly, the noise of a sword cutting through the air breaks into her thoughts. Wondering what's happening, Ray opens her eyes and witnesses something amazing. The head of the Nameless Knight falls to the ground, and his lifeless body follows suit. To Ray's surprise, Ren is there with a look of both surprise and determination on his face. Ren apologizes for being late and gives Ray some hope.